It's all about crafting your ideal prospecting strategy.
If we're targeting everybody, we're targeting nobody.
Boom, boom.
So we want to get really clear on who is our target audience.
You got to get your prospecting mix right.
Who is this person? How do they behave? Are they on LinkedIn?
I know sales guys.
Yeah. Sales sharpening on tap.
And some of you guys, you like the online strategies. Some of you like the offline strategies.
When this person logs on to LinkedIn, what are they looking for? What content is interesting to them and compelling to them?
You're going to make some cold calls.
We want to know who we're talking to.
We should start by figuring out who are we approaching.
Whoa,
hey closers. Hey Sophia, hey closers. Welcome to this week's episode of Unscripted Selling. Coming at you from the heart of Miami, Carlos Garrido and Sophia Rodriguez. Hey Sophia, what an episode we've got planned today.
Yes, I love it. When I read the topic, balancing online and offline strategies, the online, just the word online triggered like, you've got mail. Remember AOL?
You've got mail.
America
Have you ever
Online.
seen the film You've Got Mail? Such a cool film. Yeah, with is it Meg Ryan and Tom Hanks? It was like Sleepers in Seattle again. Anyway, what an episode we've got planned. It's all about crafting your ideal prospecting strategy.
Ooh.
You got to get your prospecting right. We know that. We know from helping our clients, we know that you got to get your prospecting mix right. And that's what today is all about, that ideal recipe for lead generation. Because if you ain't got leads, team, if you ain't got leads, you got nothing. You got no chance for even at-bats. So how do you get that lead generation machine cooking? How do you balance your online activities, your offline activities? That's what today is all about. Because I know sales guys. And some of you guys, you like the online strategies. Some of you like the offline strategies. But very rarely do we find somebody who's got that balance perfect. So that's what today's all about, perfecting your strategy for lead generation. That's such a cool topic, right, Sophia?
I think it's an amazing topic.
And do you not think with such amazing topics like this, people should be hitting that like and that subscribe button so they know every week when we drop into their feed, they can go in there and they can sharpen those sales skills. They're crazy not to do that, right?
Sales sharpening on tap.
So before you even think, team, guys, before you even start thinking about what the right mix of activities are, we should start by figuring out who are we approaching? Who's the audience? Sophia, isn't that the first step? How do you go about doing that? How do you go about getting your audience figured out?
Well, let's just, listeners, closers, if we're targeting everybody, we're targeting nobody. Now,
Boom. Boom.
There's the other extreme where if you go so granular, the pool of people we're looking to connect with is so small. So that's not good either. There's got to be a balance. So we want to get really clear on who is our target audience. And an example of a target audience might be U.S. college students aged 18 to 23 who listen to music while studying. I don't know. That was just out there.
You really just pulled that off the top of your head, right, Sophia?
Just download straight from the dome.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to know who we're talking to. I think it's Ali Abdaal that taught us to create an avatar. I quite like the idea of creating an avatar. Who is this person? How do they behave? What does their home look like? How do they make decisions typically? What is their age range? Where do they hang out? Are they scrolling on TikTok? Are they on Facebook? What kind of posts are they attracted to on Facebook? How do they engage with their friends on Facebook? Are they on LinkedIn? Do they go to networking events? Do they go to cheap happy hour networking events where you're drinking cheap Chardonnay and Costco, frozen Costco?
I've been to some of those. In Miami, they're always on the roof of a swanky hotel.
Yeah.
They're always a $10 or $0 event, and you think this is going to be cool. It's a swanky hotel,
I feel like it's a
and
big cheating on a wife activity
yeah,
in
and then you
Miami.
get there, and it's full of like
Douchebags.
oh, it's just full of the
It's
really
douche
people that you
rich.
do not want to have in your prospect list. More than
Yep.
that, the gin and tonic costs $35 because that's
Hmm.
how the hotel's making money, right? The
That's
reason
right.
they
That's right.
gave the rooftop to this networking event wasn't the networking event ain't paying for it. So
No.
the hotel's got to get some money from something, and they're getting it from the $35 gin and tonic.
Right.
So
But
you want to
if that's
stay
where
away
your
from those.
prospect is hanging out, then you would go to something like that. Probably not. If you're looking to hang out with, be around C-suite presidents, founders, they're probably not
They're
hanging out
not
at that
there.
rooftop event.
You know
Right?
where
Where
they
are
are?
they hanging out?
Let's talk for a moment about where guys like that are hanging out. So where are, and I think this is such a cool point that you got to get your mind, you got to mind sync, you got a Vulcan mind meld with
No, no, no,
who
no,
is
no.
your prospect.
That was my
So
mind meld sound effect.
do it again because I've
No,
never
no,
heard of
no, no,
mind
no,
meld
no.
sound.
I didn't know there was one either until this moment.
Till just now. So you got a mind meld with your prospect, and you've got to think, okay, C-suite, where are they hanging out? What are they searching online? That's a really interesting question. How are they phrasing their problem, their pain, the bit that you can help them with? What is that phraseology? How are they thinking about that problem?
And closers, it's going to be different for each one of you. Some of you who are doing more enterprise sales, some of you who are whale hunting, elephant hunting, meaning you're hunting for big prospects. You're hunting for big deals. You might want to get in front of the CEO or VP, but you got to do the groundwork first. Maybe you got to get a champion. So where you hunt for champions, where you prospect for champions, is going to be different than where you prospect for the CEO. It might take you a little bit longer to get to that CEO. To the big fish, we're talking about. You might start off with what we call at Absolute, at our office, me and Carlos's office, is what we might call them supporting actors. So these might be managers and supervisors. Okay, these are people that care about facts, figures, functions, people. They might not have very much purchasing authority, but it might be worth connecting with one on LinkedIn, right? To help you do that groundwork. But only through research are you going to figure out if LinkedIn or networking is where they're hanging out.
And
So,
you make another good point there, Sophia. Is sometimes the people we want to prospect aren't necessarily they might not even be at the company we ultimately sell to. Often
mhm.
we're trying to prospect into a center of influence, and we might want to think about what is a trigger event that creates a problem that I can help solve. So, for example, the sort of the example that's always given for trigger events is if you're a realtor, then you kind of want to know divorce attorneys, right? Because divorce attorneys create a divorce is a trigger event for a real estate transaction. So if you're a realtor, then you want to find divorce attorneys for your center of influence. They're what we call a witness to the trigger. They witness the event of a divorce, and the divorce is the trigger event that is a way of stimulating activity for you. Now, here's the question I was trying to ask earlier. Once you've identified the people you want to connect with, if those people, if they're, and it is very unlikely they're going to be at the free networking event on the rooftop bar somewhere, one of those events. Where are the C-suite hanging out, Sophia? If you're trying to get, and like we do, we try and get to CEOs, owners. We try and get to, the C-suite. Where are those guys? Because they ain't at the free event.
No, I think there's no time like the present for cold calls. Sorry. if that's going to ruffle some
They're gonna
feathers.
rush the stage. The audience is gonna rush the stage and wrestle you to the ground. Sophia, cold
Yep.
call.
I think if you want to, in terms of networking, you're going to have to join some type of foundation, like, United
Charitable
Way,
foundations.
charitable foundation, and
Absolutely.
you're going to have to join the board and a committee. Don't just go to their cocktail on the rooftop. You want to, work it like it's a second job. Get visibility for yourself. Really rub elbows with these people. Again, cold calling, sending I like the veto campaign. I like sending them a book. And oftentimes these high C-suite level people are D styles, meaning they're sort of direct, straight to the point. I think it's really cool to send a C-suite level a book with a Post-it, maybe your card, and highlighted exactly the points that you want to make. I think that's a really, really cool strategy.
A FedEx envelope marked private and confidential that's sent to a CEO or an owner or a C-suite, that gets to the desk. It doesn't get opened by a gatekeeper. A FedEx envelope marked private and confidential gets to the desk you want it to get to. Doesn't get opened by a gatekeeper. 99% of the time it doesn't. And if you put in there something groovy, like we use a book strategy, which is a book with a Post-it note and a little note, and with a nice note that says, "I'll follow up." I flagged an important chapter. I'll follow up with you to see what value you got from it. That's pretty cool. But then you can also make it pretty fun. I remember we once sent diapers, and for our UK listeners, nappies, because we call diapers nappies in England. So we sold them. We sent diapers, and we would write in a marker on the diaper, "Are you tired of babying your sales team?" And we sent that
Nice.
to right. We sent that to VPs and CEOs. And there's some cool stuff like that you can do. In fact, I've got tons of stories of a really, really effective direct mail campaigns. And direct mail doesn't mean a card or a little envelope with a letter in it. That you're never going to get anywhere with that. This has got to go FedEx, so it's $1 more, marked private and confidential. So that we would call that. Would you call that an online or an offline strategy? That's an offline strategy, right?
Yeah.
Networking in the right spaces, that's offline.
Yep.
Cold calls is offline.
Right. And it's
Cold
got to
calls,
be a combination.
how much impact are we generating right now in our business cold calling? It's
Listen,
bonkers.
guys, it's the only. I think it is. I think it's more powerful than emailing, LinkedIn messaging. I mean, you're going to sit there for 2 hours and dial potentially 100 people. You're going to connect with more people than you ever could, and you're going to end up speaking on the phone with more people than you ever could from your desk, in prospecting them in, we call it the omni channel. So whether that be 3 or 4 channels with which you are going to try to get in front of this person. So maybe it's sending them some cool FedEx mail. Maybe it's maybe it's sending them a voice note on LinkedIn, a phone call, a voicemail, and an email. And you just gotta keep going. Like in the words of Winston Churchill, when you're going through hell, keep going.
Just keep going. Yeah.
I was just, before we hit record, I was just talking to Carlos about Autumn on my team, who we were just about to give up on email prospecting. I mean, seriously, we were thinking, man, we've never gotten an appointment from emailing. Maybe we should give it a break. And boom, same week that we said that, she ended up getting someone she emailed in June. Okay, it is not June now. It's November now. She got a reply to an email from June, from a prospecting email. 5
months later.
5
Now
months
I'm
later.
because I know Autumn and I know you guys in the team. I know what you're doing. You're using Cadence, right? So it
That's
isn't
right.
just an email. That
No.
response that Autumn got this week even though it was a reply to the email, it might not have been the email that was being responded to. It
You
might have
never
been one
know.
of the 5 voicemails that she left, or maybe it was the LinkedIn. Whatever it was, there were 5, 10 activities that Autumn did with that prospect, and all we see at our end is the reply to the email.
That's it. You
It's
never
like when
know.
somebody picks up one of her cold calls. It's the third cold call. Is that what generated the connection, or was it the 2 calls before with the voicemail drop, or was it the text that she sent, or was it the email or the
Yes.
LinkedIn message?
Guys,
You don't know.
you don't know. Be very, very wary of any of these products or services, messages you're getting from people that are claiming to have it all figured out. Would you like to get 100 more? Could your business use 100 more leads a month? Like, yeah, of course. But you know what? None of us have it all figured out. It's like, it's going to be a combination of all of those efforts that's going to get that person to take action. Trying to figure out which one is the most effective is like trying to figure out which drink gave you the hangover. Was it the first drink or the last drink? Well, it was a combination of all the drinks,
Of all
wasn't
of
it?
the drinks,
Right?
right?
Yeah.
So if offline, so we've covered offline, cold calling, networking, cold walk-ins, warm calls, referral asks, direct mail, and I'm sure we've missed 5 or 6 of them. What about online? So we're going to mix together offline and online. So online
Right.
is all about social, Facebook, LinkedIn activity. If you're B2B, LinkedIn's where you play.
Unfortunately, we live in a world where prospects are going to research you before they call you back or before they respond to an email. And perception is reality. And we live in a world where online, to get attention, to market yourself as that trusted advisor, you do have to post content and act like you're a somebody with a capital S.
Yeah.
You got to be posting relevant stuff. You got to be posting videos of yourself. I know we don't want to do it. I know we don't want to speak to camera and do a video about how our products are sustainable, or did you know that you saving energy, you can do it this way. I know we don't want to do that, but when that B2B C goes on your page and lurks you a little bit, it can only help. And you don't have to hire someone to follow you around with a camera. I mean, we don't have to go Kardashians mode.
And you don't. I also think you make a good point that I don't think people these days can hide behind a corporate brand anymore. I think behind the corporate brand needs to sit a personal brand, and that personal brand speaks volumes about about what you want to speak to somebody about. So I don't think you can hide. I don't think you can be incognito if you're in selling. And I think that's, to a lot of our clients, that isn't a message they want to hear.
I believe you know
They don't
what?
want to hear it.
I don't think we wanted to hear it for a little while. I think we had a little bit of, we had our YouTube presence. We were doing diet online. We were doing diet social media.
A sub-therapeutic dose of online activity is what we were doing, and then convincing ourselves, and then we were convincing ourselves that it doesn't work. By the way, just as you're thinking about these mixes as well, we will often skew the data review to give us a message that we want to hear. So, for example, here's the easy one. You want to believe that cold calls don't work? You can prove that to yourself by doing 10 cold calls and getting 0 results. I promise you. You don't even have to do the 10. I can tell you now that 10 cold calls are going to give you nothing. But 10 cold calls is a sub-therapeutic dose, a sub-therapeutic dose of cold calling. It ain't going to work. Of course it ain't going to work. It's like having a quarter of an aspirin. It ain't going to get rid of the headache. That doesn't mean aspirins don't get rid of headaches. It means a quarter of an aspirin doesn't get rid of a headache.
Right.
And 10 cold calls gets you nothing.
Yeah, right.
So
Yeah, it's
rather
true.
than do 20 activities at a subtherapeutic dose, pick 3 or 4, get a therapeutic dose of them. Now, you're not going to like what a therapeutic dose is. If you want, Sophia mentioned it earlier. She said, if you join a networking group, treat it like a second job. That means I'm getting a therapeutic dose of that networking group, right?
And analyze along the way. If you feel like you're putting a whole lot of effort and love into a certain group and it's not giving you the fruits of your labor, and I would say 90 days, I would say 6 months maybe is about 90 days to 6 months, I feel like is a good trial. Be real with yourself. If you're giving it all you got and the group just ain't it, I mean, I've made the mistake of staying in a group way too long, sort of giving it my all and hoping that, oh, maybe this will work, or maybe I'm just not putting enough in, and it just was the group. Now don't
No, but
externalize,
do you know
don't
what
blame the
you're
group.
really good at, though, Sophie? Is you're really good at giving it time. You're really good at saying, you know what, I've made a commitment. I'm doing this for whatever, 6 months.
Yep.
If at the end of the 6 months you stand back and say, you know what, I did that properly and it didn't deliver. Well, then if it didn't deliver, then you change your strategy. But I would encourage, especially now where you guys are all planning for 2024, lock in your numbers, lock in the plan. In starting whatever, January, you could start it today, start it tomorrow. I am going to do this mix of prospecting activity, and I am
Yep.
going to do exactly that, irrespective of the result, for a minimum of 90 days. Somewhere between 90 days and 6 months, that's the
Yeah.
right number, right?
So aside from having a presence online, Carlos, you got to think about how you're going to, let's say LinkedIn, my favorite, right? How are you going to use that? I have a couple people that I've had to put on mute. I know that sounds mean, but maybe I am. Maybe I'm a little. I don't mean to be mean, but it's like I have a couple of people that on my LinkedIn who post selfies of themselves like every other day. Which, okay, great, but that at their desk or at a networking event or whatever. But like that doesn't help me. First of all, I'm seeing a selfie of you every day. I'm not really reading the post because I'm honestly kind of just annoyed that I'm seeing a selfie of you every single day. You're not bringing value. So be intentional, folks. Think about which channel you're using and what people go to that channel for, right? I'm going to be honest. It shouldn't happen to me, but it still happens. I'm recruiting at the moment, and I posted the job ad on my Facebook. It was crickets. It was zero engagement. Why? Because people don't go to Facebook to apply for a job. So, okay, all right. So think about which channel you're using and what people go there for. And then the content should be tailored to that avatar. When this person logs on to LinkedIn, what are they looking for? What content is interesting to them and compelling to them? Right?
And the same applies when you are offline. You're going to make some cold calls. What am I going to say? What's this avatar struggling with? What's going to bring value in that 30 seconds in the cold call? If I'm sending an envelope, FedEx, right to somebody's desk, what am I sending that's going to bring value to this avatar, to this prospect? So I'm going to summarize in a moment, but Sophia, I think it's important. You've just mentioned something important. Guys, if you are 25 minutes into this episode, you're the kind of guy that we're looking for as a closer. Give us a call. Come and join our team. You're just the best sales team in the land. Come and join our team. Give us a call.
If you're in
If you're
Miami
Florida
and
based,
Fort
if you're
Lauderdale,
Miami based, like South Florida based, give us a call. Let's see if we can add you to our team. That's a word from our sponsor. So I'm going to summarize, Sophia. I'm going to summarize. Number one, get your avatar right. Really understand that person that you're reaching out to. And figure out where they hang out, what they're searching for, what's motivating them, what's going to grab their attention. Attention is the currency, guys. Number two, get your mix right. Pick 3 or 4 different channels, modalities to reach out to them. Mix online with offline, and commit to a therapeutic dose of each of those activities. Therapeutic dose, not subtherapeutic dose. And then final point, stick with the plan for 90 days minimum before you make a call as to whether something needs to change. Stick to the plan. It's as simple as that, right, Sophia?
It's as simple as that.
So, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe.
Come on, subscribe. You know you want to.
And until next week, it's good selling and goodbye from Sophia.
And goodbye from Carlos. Thanks for listening.
Take care, folks.